Hey everyone, I'm William LaRue, and I'm gonna tell you a little story about me and my cousin Curtis. So my story is mainly about my cousin Curtis, but I'm also in it, and I always love to remind Curtis of this. And I gave him a nickname because of this. It was Waterboy. So the setup is at Anderson County High School, and it's my 12th grade science class, and we have a teacher named Mr. Smith. And this class was just full of football players, basketball players, anything. And for some reason, I was in there, and everyone would just poke around and joke with each other. And while all this was going on, Mr. Smith had his back turned towards us, and was facing the whiteboard. And he would never turn around. Like, he would rarely ever turn around and face us. He would always just call out our names while facing the whiteboard. So that was his way of getting roll call while answering a question. So he would answer a question or ask a question and never turn around, and each person he'd ask, they'd either grunt or give him the answer, and that would just satisfy him for some reason. And while all this would go on, old Curtis was asleep at his desk. And sure enough, it was his time to answer one of the questions that Mr. Smith called out. And he asked, what was the formula for water? And he calls out Curtis. Curtis does not answer because he is asleep. And everyone's trying to help out Curtis even though he's asleep. They try telling him the answer, and some people even try whispering the page number in the textbook. It is page 104. And so he calls out Curtis's name again. Curtis is still asleep, and we're starting to get a little bit worried. And so he calls out Curtis's name for a third time, and that's when I kind of step in. I kind of give Curtis a little nudge on the shoulder and kind of wake him up. And he wakes right up, and first thing he hears is page 104. So wouldn't you know it, that's what he answers to Mr. Smith. And Mr. Smith just grins, and he says, class dismissed. So that was my story about me and my cousin Curtis. Thank you for listening.